What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a good old-fashioned training vlog, and we're going to be focusing around mass gain. First of all, if I sound a little bit nasally or ill in this video, it's not that I'm actually ill, it's that I currently have hay fever and I'm being molested by tree pollen. So if you haven't watched already, the previous vlog on this channel was on a day of eating, the first one I've done in a long time, and the feedback was really positive from you guys, so thank you for that one. I've had some controversial ones in the past, but so far so good. In that video I shared the fact that I am taking a little bit more of an aesthetic focus to my training as of lately. I've been training for over 6 years, and certainly the first couple of years I trained, I was like 18, and yeah, I was doing it for looks. I wanted to look good, I wanted to build muscle, I was into bodybuilding, I was into some powerlifting, and that was kind of where my focus was. And as I've got more and more into hand balancing, into gymnastics, into mobility stuff, all the weird things that people give you funny looks in the gym for, like, that aesthetic focus has become less important to me. But because, you know, if you train well and if you eat well, you'll generally build some mass or maintain some mass to a certain degree anyway. You don't have to focus on it too much. But that being said, in today's video, basically we're going to go through a training session later on today. But first I'm going to give you some tips and tricks about what you can take away into your own training that's going to help with that mass gain focus. Right, so number one, the first thing, and this is the thing I think a lot of people forget about when they start training mass, is they forget to lift heavy. They start sticking to that higher rep range work because they think, okay, higher rep range better at building mass, but training heavy stuff is an essential part of hypertrophy. So it's going to help us achieve maximal force production, it's going to make us stronger through hypertrophy, and it's going to improve our CNS activation, it's going to improve like that muscular coordination for patterns. It's just, you don't want to just look good and then be useless at doing things. You want to be able to be strong, good at doing stuff, and, you know, have the side effect of looking good. Point number two is of volume, and this is not necessarily about doing as much volume as possible, it's about finding the correct amount for you, and this will depend on each person. It does vary quite a lot, but basically just understand that we have two kind of points that we can fall between. We have minimum effective dose and we have maximum tolerable volume, and if we sit somewhere between this gap, we'll probably be good for building mass, strength, skills, whatever it is. Those are kind of our boundaries that we want to hit. Here we have what's the least amount that I can do so I can still see progress in mass gain or whatever. If I don't do that much, then I'm probably not going to see that effect. And then at the top end of the spectrum, which is actually where I find most people go wrong, most people do too much. Often this concept like hard gainers is just people doing too much volume. If you do so much, it actually makes it harder for your body to recover and then build mass and get better, and basically we kind of want to fall somewhere between those 2 points. What that looks like on an individual level, as I said, it kind of depends. Somewhere in the region of 8 to 12 sets per pattern, so push or pull or legs, should suffice, should be about the right amount. But again, this one kind of varies per person and then depends on what reps you're using and all of those sort of things. Programming can be as complicated as you want it to be. If you want a good starting point, I would recommend Bodyweight Basics. That's my program that I've got out there. You kind of need about 6 pull-ups to start the program as a kind of a beginning point. I'll probably be following some similar principles in this series, basically. And the last point, the point that I want to reiterate, is consistent progressive overload. And what I mean by this is 2 things. Number one is we want to be consistent in the sense that we want to do the same thing over and over again at least 6 to 8 times to make sure that we're not switching things up too much and then not making progress. So you need some element of consistency. You then need progressive overload, which is you need to be doing more every single session or every single week that you're training, whether that's adding 1 extra rep in total to your workout, or maybe that's adding a little bit more weight or doing a little bit of a harder progression. You need to do a little bit more each time to some degree to really maximize the effects in both strength and hypertrophy. So we're all good to go right here. Some essential amino acids by bulk powders with some coconut water. This is not like because they're magical mass building effects, it's simply because I ate my first meal like 6 hours ago. I haven't had time to make a meal in between, and I can't be bothered to make one, eat one, and then wait an hour before training. So this is the next best option, and I'll just eat more food later on today. So today's session is an upper body session, and as always I start pretty much all of my sessions, to be honest, with handstands. I'm not going to go too much into detail with handstands because, for one, they sucked today. You can see from this clip the amount of corrections I had to make and the weirdest saves, like having to go all the way down into a press to save under balance. Completely pointless, but it was fun to do. I'm going to go into more detail about handstands in the Road to 1 handstand series, but just essentially, you know, the work is being done. I'm continuing to work on it. I generally spend 60 to 90 minutes at the beginning of each session on my handstands and then go into my strength work. Today was more like 45 minutes because it was just damn frustrating. Anyway, today's session plan you can find in the description down below if you do want to find the full routine. Essentially, I was going to work heavy weighted dips and weighted pull-ups and then move into some more hypertrophy work. So as I started warming up, I don't know for what reason, but I just decided that I wanted to actually test my 1 rep max, because I haven't done a 1 rep max test with weighted dips or weighted pull-ups for I don't even know how long. And I'll just be interested to see how it's going, because I haven't really done much weighted work for quite a while, and it's the last 6 weeks I've been incorporating in weighted dips and weighted pull-ups. So I was just kind of interested to see where the weight was at. So, you know, we started warming up to it. So I started with a sort of a set of easy 5 and then a set of easy 3. And then I started moving on to some heavier singles. So 40 kilos for both pull-up and dip seemed to be about right. So I started aiming for some body weight percentages. So this is 2/3 of my body weight for the dip, 58.5 kilos, 129 pounds, for a relatively easy single and a dodgy dismount. Pull-up, I decided to go a little bit less because you're generally a bit weaker with the pull-up. And I managed 50 kilos, 57% body weight. I upped to 75% body weight, 66 kilos, 145 pounds. And this was probably like a 95-97% 1 rep max. I could have gone a little bit more. And the same for pull-up, I managed to up it to the 2/3 of body weight, 58.5 kilos. And that was pretty much max effort. I only filmed the lockout bit of it. After that, I did actually back off and do 1 set of the supposed rep scheme, which was 4 to 6 reps. But I was pretty tanked at this point, so 1 set was more than enough. But it was interesting to hit those numbers. 75% body weight dip, 66.6% body weight pull-up. And I think those are pretty good numbers. I was speaking to Emmett Lewis and he said that 80% dip, 60% chin up, whereas I was doing pull-up here, would be a good ratio to have. After that, I moved into a little bit of accessory work, weighted push-ups, one of my all-time favorite exercises. I love this exercise for both the functionality aspect, it's transfer over to planche and a few other things because it's that closed chain, and also just because it's a great way to overload the push-up pattern, which is easy, but actually a very effective muscle building exercise. So we were doing a little bit of wave loading. So we did a set of 10, a set of 8, and a set of 6. And the idea is each set, you add a little bit more weight, overload the pattern. And the same principle we applied to rows. So here, doing actually pause rows. So taking a 1 second pause at the top, 3 second negative. All of the movements in this routine have a decent, slow, controlled negative because we want to ensure that time under tension, one of the most important things for muscle and also strength building. So with this one, I just started adding some weight to my lap if I wanted to make this harder, so to make those reps as they drop down. But those are kind of the bread and butter movements really when it comes to bodyweight training. I did finish up with some arms, and weights tend to be the best option here, so I just go with weights. I don't really have a bias towards bodyweight. I did some incline curls. One of the reasons I love incline curls is it also helps to develop shoulder extension flexibility. So I like to keep these in there just to maintain my shoulder extension, which can tend to get a little bit tighter when I start lifting heavier weights. But I do vary up my bicep work on sessions. Like for instance, there's no rotator cuff work in today's session. That's because I do it in my other upper body session. And then I paired this with some overhead tricep extensions. And again, similar sort of thing, just on the same bench, 30-degree-ish incline, neutral grip. And these are 2 of my favorite sort of just standard stock exercises that, one, help performance, and then they also help with that mass gain aesthetic. But that's basically the workout. As I said, full details in the description down below. Back to the vlog. And that is basically the workout. I'm pretty pumped right now. It's just a simple session. Like, simple actually works incredibly well. Having like some weighted element, having the ability to measure weight is a great way to apply that progressive overload. You know how much you're lifting, you know how much reps you're doing. It's a great way to just keep track things are going in the right direction. And then mass gain will come as long as you eat pretty well. Speaking of which, let's grab some food. So post-workout we have that orange juice, and then I'm also going to add here some almond milk and then 2 scoops of natural whey. As usual, technical difficulties, but anyway, what I wanted to say just to finish this off was the reason I started doing this 1 rep max test was because I wanted to add some form of non-subjective measure to the short-term series goal, whatever it is, the mass gain challenge basically. I don't really like physique shots. I think they're great. I personally don't like them because I don't want to take them. It's just not my thing. I'm not very good at taking them of myself. And often they can be subjective depending on lighting. Like I could literally look like I've lost and gained 10 kilos in the space of about 30 minutes with a bit of lighting and some water. By having a weighted dip that's gonna help measure and put a number on strength gained in a different way to like standard bodyweight progression. So one, it gives you a number which is very measurable. 2, I'm going to be using weight, seeing how much weight I've gained. And then we'll have some form of like physique shots, but nothing too serious. I'll try and make it somewhat repeatable. That's basically it, guys. If you have any questions about today's workout, as I said, the full thing is in the description down below. While you're down there, just leave a comment. Join the conversation. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. If you just want to support the channel, you can hit that thumbs up button. And right next to it is that subscribe button as well. If you want to join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe, we're going to be making some gains, that's for sure. But that's been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace.